Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to be joined by Amanda Marshall, U.S. Attorney for Oregon. Amanda, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Thanks for coming back. So it's been a year now since you took over the position. What has been your biggest challenge in the role?
My biggest challenge? Wow. My biggest challenge, you know, the biggest challenge has been getting up to speed on really diverse areas of the law. I'm a person that is very hands-on. I'm pretty internally focused, and so I like to get into the weeds on the cases and the subject matter areas. And because our office has such a diversity in terms of both the civil and criminal practice that we do, I've spent a lot of time trying to get up to speed.
Okay. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Colorado and Washington both legalized possession of marijuana, and I know this is a tough question for you to answer, but perhaps we can talk about it. But these have to be tough times for federal law enforcement to navigate, if you will.
Well, I mean, I think there are tough times for federal law enforcement, but also, you know, and maybe even more so for state and local law enforcement who've had their, here in Oregon, especially where resources have been such an issue. You look at counties like Klamath and Josephine, where they're basically facing insolvency and they've had to cut back on law enforcement. And these types of issues do present unique challenges for law enforcement. On the federal side, you know, there's a lot of questions that we're going to have to answer about how states passing laws that are in, potentially in conflict with federal law, how do we deal with that? What are the issues around preemption? Those are all things that the administration is taking a look at right now. Eric Holder's been meeting with, and actually the Deputy Attorney General, Jim Cole, has been meeting with leaders from those states that have passed legalization measures, and they've been sitting down and trying to figure out how they're going to deal with this. Interesting.
Okay. Now, I know you're familiar with the Southern Oregon Meth Project, and we talk a lot about the I-5 corridor and Mexican drug cartels, be it methamphetamine or heroin. Is there any progress being made on the I-5 corridor and drugs?
Well, I mean, the progress that's being made is that we've been very tenacious in our enforcement efforts, and it's one thing that we're really proud of here in Southern Oregon is the ability to work very collaboratively with state and local and federal law enforcement partners, whether it's the Jackson County Sheriff's Office or the Medford Police Department, Klamath County Sheriff's Office, Josephine County, Grants Pass Police, and the interagency drug teams, along with the DEA, ICE, ATF, and other federal agencies to really do a great job patrolling the I-5 corridor. We've been able to make some big cases. We've got a case in the pipeline right now here in Medford involving 30 pounds of heroin that was taken off I-5. We've had several cases where we've interdicted methamphetamine out of cars driving over the border on I-5. So, and it's not, you know, it's really, it is a effort that doesn't just involve Oregon. A lot of these cases are done in conjunction with law enforcement investigations out of California and also in Washington State. So we have made progress. I mean, I can't say that we've stopped the tide of drugs coming in over the border, but certainly we've responded.
Excellent. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll have much more with Amanda in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Amanda Marshall, U.S. Attorney for Oregon. 2013 is coming up pretty close, Amanda. What are your goals for 2013?
Well, my goals for 2013 are to continue the work that we've done over the past year. One of my biggest goals is just to keep the office supported and on the right track. The truth is I've got 50 of the best lawyers in the entire world working here in the District of Oregon, prosecuting cases and defending the United States. So my goal is the U.S. Attorney is to support those people to have everything they need to be successful in their jobs and then get out of their way so that they can do the great work that they need to do. But in terms of subject areas that I'm really focused on, of course, protecting national security and fighting terrorism is always going to be the #1 priority for the United States. And that is work that we do here in Oregon, and we take it very seriously. But my personal priorities, and given my background as somebody who spent 10 years as a child welfare lawyer, 5 years before that as a deputy district attorney, primarily focused on domestic violence crimes, I'm very committed to protecting Oregon's children from child exploitation. We've seen a significant increase in the amount of child pornography pornography on the internet in the last 10 years. And as much as resources have been devoted and cases have been made, we don't at this point see any curb in the number of images, and if anything, we see more of an explosion. The only thing we're seeing a reduction in is the age of the victims. And so we take this incredibly seriously in the District of Oregon, and because of that, we've really focused our efforts on working more collaboratively with state and local partners, on creating a team of prosecutors, incorporating deputy DAs from all over the state, and cross-designating folks as special U.S. attorneys so that they can bring cases out of the state system into federal system when it makes sense and when they can really get enhanced penalties. That's one area. Another area related to child exploitation is child sex trafficking. In Portland, we have a significant problem. We know that we also have a problem in other parts of the state. We've prosecuted child sex trafficking cases recently in Eugene, and we know that these cases exist anywhere that there's a highway and a hotel. We expect that some level of human trafficking is taking place. In Portland, we know that we have a significant problem because we've indicted 10 pimps, that's a tongue twister.
Sure, it's okay.
In the past year, we've indicted 12 pimps for trafficking children in Portland. Right now, we're looking at trying to hone in on the statistics. We've gotten some information from state child welfare, law enforcement agencies, and from Sexual Assault Resource Center so that we can help to quantify the scope of the problem in Portland. And I've also been meeting with partners in state child welfare and local community-based, public-private, nonprofit groups to talk about how we can better serve these kids who are the victims of this heinous crime. Because if we can't keep these girls safe and stable, at least long enough to go to court, we can't make the cases. But in the long run, we're also just not making a difference, and we're not doing our job, which is to protect the community. So those are some things that we're really focused on and that I'll continue to focus on in the next year.
Well, glad to hear it. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.